Okay, shall we start? Okay, welcome everyone. We're very happy to have you here in Brisbane in our conference. And we hope you enjoyed your break. It was short, but it was fine. And we hope that you also stayed hydrated, not dehydrated. Yeah. Also, a very big thanks to everyone who made this conference possible, especially our sponsors, our titanium sponsor, Font Bureau, diamond sponsor, Adobe, and the platinum sponsors, Founders Type, Monotype, and Morisawa. Thank you again for making this possible. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Nada. And both David and I are moderating the three coming sessions. So welcome. Yes, David.
All right. Nada was too modest to mention it, but she is also our ATypI's vice president. I have the honor of assisting on the board. And I also have the honor of introducing today Yehang, whom you can call Simon. He's been working on a project that is, I think, the next step in a process that has been going on for a number of decades. I'm really excited to see this progress happening, and I can hardly wait. Thank you.
So hello everyone, it's truly an honor to stand here on the stage of the ATypI conference to share the story of artificial intelligence or AI in CJK type design. AI's role in shaping CJK type development has always been a topic, not just here on the stage of the ATypI, but also in the computer science academia as a research topic of image synthesis. The reason is simple. CJK typefaces often feature a large character set, leading to a high design cost. However, our vision of the future isn't one where we are being replaced by the automation of the artificial intelligence. Instead, we hope the AI could one day lower the burden of the designers and to improve our work. This aspiration led to Zhuque, our today's topic. Zhuque is an open source project aimed at reviving a century-old Chinese typeface in a Fangsong style. While the technology behind Zhuque is all new, our desire for this typeface is to echo the elegance of the early 20th century. 2 years ago, at the ATypI Tech Talk 2022, I still felt uncertain about the technology and its potential impact on the industry. At that time, even though the AI can already generate glyph bitmaps fairly well, the results were often blurry. The challenge posed by the large character set appeared unbeatable, but today things go different and at a pace faster than we had ever imagined. In just 2 years, we witnessed the generative AI's progress at lightning speed. Think about things like ChatGPT and Midjourney. Today, generative AI has now reached the capability level nearing that of humans, signaling a profound shift in CJK type design. And let's take a peek of a tip of the iceberg in this presentation. But before that, allow me to introduce our team. Trial Needs Type is a type foundry incubated in the computer science lab with a focus on unleashing the creativity through our technology background. Zhuque, our project, is crafted by a collaborative team of 3. I really regret that my colleagues couldn't have joined us today. Yu Junyi is an award-winning type designer, is the genius behind Zhuque's beauty. Han Yongsi brought to life the counter design, and as for me, I mostly do the type work, but I also contributed to Zhuque's design. First, let me explain why there is a need for a new Fangsong typeface. In China, we basically recognize there are 4 basic fundamental typefaces, naming Song, Hei, Fangsong, and Kai. Song is basically the serif style, and Hei as the sans serif style, with Kai being a script style. This may leave Fangsong an unfamiliar concept outside China. To put it simply, Fangsong could be considered as an intermediate style, one that sits between the serif and the script styles. Even though Fangsong might not be as important as the serif and the sans styles, it still holds a significant place in China, either in forms of hand letterings and printed types. A century ago, during the heyday of Fangsong diversity, it was widely used on book covers, in classical literatures, and on business cards. In modern China, there are still numerous needs where Fangsong are mandatory. For instance, official documents often require Fangsong in body text as per their style guides. You will also find Fangsong widely used on engineering drawings, and interestingly, it is sometimes regarded as the Chinese equivalent of italic in Latin typography. Despite the fundamental role Fangsong typeface plays, the availability of open options was non-existent. There used to be no usable Fangsong typeface available under an open license before. Although there were free of charge alternatives, these were only free for standard commercial use. There's also a technical derivative known as HZ Sōchōtai, but it does not embody the perfect style of Fangsong, and it is derived from a serif typeface using a parametric font approach. So therefore, Zhuque started out with a clear goal that it will fill up the vacancy of the Fangsong typeface under an open license. While we embrace the new design with this project, in the sense that it differs from all the products now available, but we also want to honor the traditional essence of Fangsong, so we decided to make it a revival project of a design that did not survive. Essentially, our goal is to design a typeface for modern text use that displays well both on screens and when used with modern printing technology. The challenge is to ensure that it looks recognizably Fangsong-ish, not too leaning too far towards the serif or the script side. However, we also desire to bring a distinct flavor to the Fangsong product. Currently, most available Fangsong products in China bearing a striking resemblance to each other, being a digital adaptation of a century-old typeface, Huafeng Zhensong, which has stood the test of the time, being revived with every technological evolution. Zhuque aims to design something new as a revival of the century-old Nansong typeface, which did not survive in the past 100 years. Our design is loosely based on the 21-point Nansong printing materials, but with the intent to producing a vibe similar to the 10.5-point Nansong body text. While keeping the original square shape and low gravity features, we reduced the contrast and thickened it a little bit to improve its effect on the screens and with modern printing technologies. Nansong was not cut with a banded engraver, so mixing up materials in different point sizes may seem weird. However, we've got some good reasons for such a practice, especially considering the complexity of Chinese characters. Scanning smaller printed material often results in loss in details and thus become less usable as a source. Reviving Chinese typefaces is, in its essence, very different from its Latin counterpart, primarily due to the vastness of the script's character set. In Latin type revival, designers have the advantage of accessing numerous samples of almost every character you need. What the designers do is then to analyze these printed types and adapt the raw material to suit modern technology. But for Hanzi, the Chinese characters, the story would become much different as there are so many characters in the character set. The raw material does not often cover the target character set, and the samples we can obtain are often extremely skewed. For some characters, we can get plenty of samples, while for some characters, we could not get the printed marks at all. In conclusion, when working on a Chinese type revival project intended for modern use, we usually adopt a more synthetic approach. Our reliance on the raw material is somewhat more relaxed. The essential factor is to capturing the spirit of the original design. The process of completing Zhuque is quite a journey. 2 years ago, I began imagining the possibilities of using AI to assist us in crafting the design we want. I didn't expect this day would come so soon, and now it is upon us. Co-creating with AI is now here. Over the past 2 years, we witnessed the tremendous advancement in image synthesis algorithms. Creating images are so clear that there aren't any blurriness and artifacts anymore. As soon as the open source Stable Diffusion model was released, we immediately went testing it. It worked like charm, allowing us to create such beautiful typographic experiments. We then inspired to find a stable method to generate Chinese characters, to generate the Chinese types. And I'm excited to say that we now have it. The most impressive aspect of the new technology is its adaptability. It can be used in a traditional way, with a clear separation between the design and the tech process. What's even better is that we can collaborate with the model. Like here, we take this very complex character, if you know that this is a Biang character, and allow the AI to fill up the stroke details, making the necessary modifications manually, and repeat this cycle until we get what we want. Looking at the bigger picture, the Zhuque project follows the design and technical pipeline that unfolds in several stages. At the very beginning, our designer manually crafts the first 85 characters, with no much different to the traditional design. Next, we train the model using the style samples. The intention here is for the model to learn from these samples and grasp the desired style. Following this, we proceed to the batch generation process, where the model produces new glyphs to complete the character set. Given that Chinese font generation technology has been around for some time, this batch generation has also been a common practice for at least half a decade. And the result was conventionally used as a reference for the designers. However, our approach slightly diverges from the conventional at this point. We enter a phase where the model acts as a design assistant. During the bitmap co-editing step, the designer not only needs to roughly paint on the bitmap generated by the previous batch, then it is handed back to then the designer makes some modifications to the bitmap generated, and it is handed back to the model, which will handle the trivial details, just in the way how we dealt with the very complex Biang character in our previous slide. With all the bitmaps collected, we then make the auto-tracing to generate Bezier contours. This may seem unusual, and I will dive into this shortly. After obtaining the traced glyphs, they are imported into the glyphs app, where we will finalize our work. Present days, AI methods are usually data-driven. As we show here, Zhuque's dataset is composed of the design itself, historical materials, and OFL typefaces. During the model training, the AI learns from the designer's handcrafted glyphs in Zhuque style, and also from 3,000 Nansong printed types. This hybrid dataset enables the model to better understand and capture the style we aim to express. During the batch generation step, we need to tell the model at least the basic letter forms of what we want to generate. So here we employ 3 letter form references as the dataset for the model to infer on. 落峡谷文楷 derived from Fontworks Cli1 source and source Han Sans and source sans serif, and also Nansong itself. In some sense, Zhuque is a project benefited from open fonts and has come back to open fonts. I'm thrilled to say we only spent 1 month to go through the whole process after we had the basic design settled. However, we have decided to unveil this as a public beta to continue improving and refining based on our user feedback. Again, CJK type design is known for its intensive human effort and considerable time investment. But with our pipeline, we managed to significantly reduce the time cost of this traditionally labor-intensive development and production stage to a mere month. This also marks a shift for the designers who traditionally needed a team to bring their design to life. But now, with the assistance of AI, designing on a large character set can be managed with personal effort. Such a breakthrough also enables an interactive development approach, which used to be impossible in CJK type development. In the Zhuque project, we launched a public beta and then released a questionnaire to gather user feedback. The questionnaire was designed to engage both the general audience and the professionals. It covers a variety of aspects, from the design metrics to our work priority they wish. And surprisingly, we found out what the users really care about are much different to what we had expected. Besides the multiple weights and optical sizes that will make Zhuque become a typeface family, users expressed a strong interest in multi-language support and an intensive character set coverage. This signifies an importance of making a typeface global and supporting more characters beyond general needs that we designers may often overlook. Even though we are already seeing users being satisfied with our current public beta, we acknowledge that Zhuque is far from perfect. So here we continue our venture of overcoming the final barrier of an automated CJK type production stage. As I have previously mentioned, Zhuque currently employs auto-tracing to convert bitmaps into Bezier curves. Since the quality of the generated bitmaps are so clear that we can confidently rely upon, the result is quite satisfying. Auto-tracing offers several advantages. It is fast and easy to implement, and minimal human effort. By applying proper parameters and utilizing curve simplification techniques, we've achieved a pretty good auto-tracing result. The file size impact is also far less than we had expected. But of course, auto-tracing does have its limitations. It can cause shape inconsistency at details, and with this method, we can only get the shape's outline as a unified whole, rather than stroke-by-stroke contours. Therefore, it is impossible to obtain compatible masters with auto-tracing. Keeping these limitations in mind, we are going on a journey to reconstruct the Bezier contours of the strokes, starting from the ultra-high quality bitmap generated by the diffusion model. We then extract the stroke bitmaps from the glyph bitmap, thus reconstruct the strokes contours based on the user's previous design. We are still actively working on this tech pipeline and hoping it will become the final piece of the puzzle to overturn this centuries-old character set challenge associated with the Chinese characters. So what's next for the Zhuque project? Zhuque will continue to serve as the testing ground for our technologies and design practices. Currently, Zhuque is going through the production stage of the China's commonly used Hanzi, plus a few traditional Chinese characters and Japanese characters. We are also refining the design for the 1.0 version based on the user feedback we have gathered. We've also planned 3 widths or optical sizes for Zhuque. Additionally, you can expect to see the production-ready Zhuque in higher contour quality as I introduced in the previous slides. We are also planning to release localized versions to fulfill the requirements of simplified traditional Chinese and Japanese users. Considering Zhuque is still a self-funded project powered by a small team of 3, completion before the production-ready release may take some time, but we are not stopping there. In the further future, we hope to cover a wider range of Chinese characters and extend Zhuque's support to Korean, featuring a brand new Hangul design. Yes, we have an ambition to fully support a CJK typographic requirements, supporting all these scripts, including Chinese characters, Japanese kana, and Korean Hangul. Yeah, here we see a slide looking pretty similar, just like the one Mingyong mentioned earlier this morning. But it's a little bit different story. Hello, it's a little bit different story here. We know that Chinese characters are used throughout East Asia, and we can notice the significant differences in the printed letter forms. So when we look at a pan-CJK typeface like Sōchōtai sans or Sōchōtai serif, we see a support of localized forms across regions. This introduces the challenge of glyph management, but working with Fangsong is very different from handling sans or serif typefaces, because Fangsong are more close to handwritten letter forms and thus reduce many printed form differences. Take this example, we see the letter form vary across all the 4 regions, but designing a Fangsong typeface can minimize these variations since the handwritten form of this character is almost identical across the regions. For a typeface that aims to express, that aims to serve for the full CJK requirements, trying best to unify the letter forms, on the one hand, decreases the total glyph count, making the project more cost-effective, but also ensure the design's essence remains consistent across languages. Yet, managing localized variants of CJK is a considerable challenge that we will soon confront. So after all this long story of Zhuque, an ongoing adventure of AI-aided CJK type revival, we ask, what opportunity will the new technology offer us? We believe this time things will change very soon, not only for the CJK type designers, but also for foundries outside East Asia. Most importantly, we will witness CJK typefaces being easier and faster to productionize, and eventually applying to those to other scripts. For CJK type designer, this will increase their productivity, freeing up more time to ensure quality. We also envision the new technology will one day empower independent foundries in East Asia to be more competitive. For foundries outside East Asia, the implications are also exciting. Just think of that. Zhuque itself can be viewed as an allegory of CJK, so if producing a CJK version for your typeface will soon become more affordable, potentially it will bring you some good chances to make your typeface go global. AI is a neutral force. Whether it will bring us good or bad depends on our choices. So here's to hope and to working towards a bright future. And thank you for your patience and attention throughout this story. We couldn't have made Zhuque possible without invaluable contributions. We express our heartfelt gratitude to Terry Wang for his collection and research on Nansong types. Our appreciation extends to our community contributors, including Simon Xu, Luo Xiagu, and others. I wish my colleagues, also integral parts of this three-person project, could have joined us today, but their absence cannot lessen their importance. If you have an interest in what we are doing, we invite you to follow us, Chinese Type, on social medias. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and on GitHub, where you can also find the repository of the Zhuque project. Thank you once again.
That's pretty much everything I was hoping to hear. It's very encouraging, and I can hardly wait to see how this continues to unfold. Have we got some questions from the audience?
Hi, I'm just curious to know, have you tried, or are you aware of anyone that's tried to apply the same methodology but to Latin type design?
We haven't tried it on Latin typography yet because there's no such a need in Latin typography. We believe that designers would rather craft the design by themselves. But for the CJK typography and CJK type design, there is a strong need for the automated processing.
Thank you, very interesting talk. I have some questions around this transition to bitmaps and back. So my first
sorry, to what?
In terms of in your process, you're describing that you sample things as bitmaps, and then you have the generation step, and then you trace the contours, and you were describing this issue that you don't get compatible masters, and you're working on a different process to extract more like stroke contours and things like that. So two questions there. Is the stroke extraction process, is that AI assisted as well, or is that more an algorithmic step?
The stroke extraction process is also some kind of AI. It's actually computer vision based.
Okay. And the second question I have is, are you considering moving to generation models that use a different representation than bitmaps?
Different representation of bitmaps?
Yeah, like for example, moving away from bitmaps as the intermediate step, but instead using some kind of embedding that uses strokes or some other kind of vector graphics as the input to the model.
Yeah, sure. We are expecting that, and currently we are still using text prompts. We use text as another modality in the model to help us to control the style. And yeah, sure, using other embeddings would also help, especially there is a potential that we can also predict the key points of the Bezier curves with some special encoders. Like if some decoders can actually output serial data, we can actually have a potential to get high quality Bezier curves, and that's what we are also working towards.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
We can take one more question.
Hi, Ian. Great idea. So, in your design process and tech pipeline, you somewhere mentioned about curve optimization, right?
Yeah.
So, do you do that manually or is that via AI as well?
Our approach now is an AI-aided design. So human is still necessary in this process. We utilize AI to fasten this process rather than a one-click solution. Of course, a one-click solution is also what we are looking for, as it will also empower independent foundries and designers in East Asia if it will become a tool for them to use.
So basically, it's a mix of both.
Sorry?
AI and human.
Yeah,
for the curve
AI and
optimization
human.
process.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can have also more questions if you like afterwards. We're running out of time. So you can discuss with each other if you have any more questions afterwards.
So, once again, thank you very much